Welcome to the mini-series, Class 6, and in this class we're discussing the situation of getting into relationships and what all is involved, and how we use the 24 life ingredients to help us to create the kind of relationships that last for a long time, that we can be happy with for a lifetime. So when we consider that life is a series of connected and related experiences, and we've gone through the exercises of looking at the world as being perfect as it is. So we understand that from a viewpoint of what is love, that love is seeing everything as being perfect as it is. So what does that mean when we start looking at potential partners in a relationship? So consider that when we're talking to people and we're looking at them as being perfect as it is, as they are, but then we're seeing things that we're just not in alignment with. And it's not always that we're going to be in alignment with those. But when we can look at a person and without saying, well, they would be great if they change this or if they change that, when we can accept them for who they are, what they are, without requiring change, and we don't find ourselves in alignment with that person, then all we're doing is actually avoiding the conflict that would happen down the road that would lead to a divorce, because at some point we're going to be true to how we really feel, and if we've discovered that up front, then we've saved ourselves and the other person a lot of misery, because what we're looking for is that we meet different people, that we get into relationships, into conversations with people, and then as we discover who they are and we love them the way they are, but discover that we're not in alignment, then we've accomplished a lot in that process without creating a lot of damage. So in the exercise that we'll do here, so with the breathing, again, breathing in through our nose, feeling we're breathing through our whole body, breathing out through our mouth, exhaling everything that we don't need, any negativity, any exhaustion. And we keep that process in the back of our mind, and we use that ongoing throughout our life, because we always want to be in that state where we're feeling the energy that the universe is bringing to us all the time, and we're breathing out what we don't need anymore. That's the background that we're working from. And we're working from a place of that everything is perfect as it is. So even though we may not be in a relationship at the moment, or we're in a relationship that's requiring work, or that whatever the situation is, you can be in a great relationship, but for this particular class, where people aren't in a relationship yet and are wanting to get into one, consider that to be perfect as it is. Don't put the stress on yourself of there's something wrong or there's something imperfect, or, well, you've never had success with relationships, or things aren't going to work out because they never work out, anything like that. Consider it perfect as it is. You're in the right place at the right time to go the next steps to create the relationship that you want. So as we relax into this, as we take that deep breath, so just nice deep breath, and then exhale, seeing the world as being perfect as it is, what we're going to do is explore how do we actually feel about getting into a relationship. So are we able to look at people as being perfect as they are? Are we able to have conversations with people just as normal human beings? So we're not looking at the opposite sex or at our potential partner as being, and we're trying to capture them or something. We're just talking as equals about things that are of interest. Now, what I strongly suggest is that people start, when they're looking for relationships, start on a friendship level, start on get along with people, have conversations, discover interests. Because once you've met somebody and you're on a level where you see them as being perfect as they are, and you're finding that there's a lot that you're in alignment with them as you have these conversations, then you know you're already on a good path. Or if you're finding that there's a lot of things where you're not in alignment and could never be in alignment with, then recognize that you might have made a friend, but you're not necessarily relationship material. And that's all perfect as it is, because you've met this person as a result of how you feel about getting into relationships. And then so it's a step forward. So always look at it as being perfect as it is. Now, as we continue to breathe, and we're always wanting to bring ourselves to this state where we feel calm, relaxed, and that there's no stress. Because once we bring stress, then we bring a lot of unease into our life. Then we start making decisions and looking at life as a place of being problematic. And then all we do is we just go down this path of negativity that eventually we have to come back out of if we're going to move forward in a healthy relationship. When we think about how we feel about relationships, and so some people will feel that, well, I don't want to be friends with a person because I don't want to end up in the friend zone. Well, that's a big misunderstanding, because what the friend zone is just a way for a person to say, I'm not turned on by you. Like, I like you as a person, but it doesn't go any further than that. To fully understand what it means is that a person is turned on by many different things. It's not just the looks. You can have all the looks, but if you don't have the kind of personality behind it, then it's not going to work long term. It's not going to be something that's going to keep a person attracted to you. You can be the ugliest person in the world, and you can turn people on because of the way that you go about talking with them, having conversations with them, interacting with them, because there's a lot more in all of that than there is in just looks. So let's go through this exercise. So we'll close our eyes, we're breathing, we're relaxed, everything's perfect as it is. And now your potential partner would say something to you. You don't know this person, but through whatever place you're interacting, you might be involved in a hobby, you might be involved in a sport or an activity, and you meet somebody and they say something to you because unknown to you, they're attracted to you. And so they'll say, hey, how's it going, or something. And do you have something of what are you going to be able to say? Like, are you stuck for an answer to that? Or are you able to talk about something? Are you able to bring something up that extends that conversation? And this is where a lot of people, when they're out of relationships, when they're looking to get into relationships, that if they don't think through what's this going to look like to be in a relationship, then it becomes difficult, because then those moments are awkward, and then you don't say anything, and then later on you're kicking yourself and you're back into that, well, this is not perfect as it is, and you're living through all kinds of regrets, and then you're going down this whole trail of negativity, back down the parking garage into this whole negative world. And there's no need for that. If we realize, and this is where it's important to understand the way that the universe works, is that when we understand that the universe delivers to us what we feel, then the question for you is, how do you get to feel that you're in a relationship so that the universe can deliver that to you? So let's put that in a different framework. Let's look at the spiritual, physical side. So we've got mind, body, and then when we want to create our physical reality, and the way we create our physical reality is by creating the spiritual reality first. So let's look at that in terms of what this means for relationships. So if our spiritual reality, if the spiritual reality we've created is that we're going to be in a relationship, then that means we've thought a little bit into that. What does it mean? What kind of conversations are we going to have with people? What am I interested in that might be of interest to somebody else? When somebody wants to know about me, then what is it that I do that would be interesting for them to hear about? And vice versa, what would you ask somebody about what they're into or what they're doing that would get them encouraged to speak about what they're doing? Open conversation, make them feel comfortable, at ease about meeting you. And so before you get into a relationship, and that's the whole point of this exercise, is to start thinking about what does it actually feel like to be in a conversation. When you can put yourself spiritually in the place of being with a person and having a conversation with them and thinking through what's that going to be like. I'm not saying that you have to plan it word for word. That usually goes off the rails. But when you know generally that when you can ask somebody about themselves, that people are interested in having somebody hear about what their life is about. So it's more about the ability to ask a couple of key questions, to get somebody to talk, and then to be able to listen with interest, not planning what you're going to be saying back to them. Just listen and trust the universe that whatever this person is telling you, that it'll lead to a natural conversation if you allow it. So as you go through this, what I recommend is that you go back through these videos, go back through the classes, make sure that you follow me on these links on YouTube and wherever you're seeing these, because there's a lot of these free classes that I've put together in this mini-series. And when you keep going back through and you connect all the different pieces, find out where you're weak in life, and then say, okay, well, that'll be interesting. Maybe I can practice there a little more, practice there. And when you get completely stuck, send me a note, send me an email, and I'll guide you to the next steps or give you a suggestion of what might be useful for you to overcome what the challenges are that you're facing. So I look forward to meeting you. Take advantage of the videos, get all the use you can out of them, and remember that it's all connected, related experiences. Everything's interconnected, and so when you get to be familiar with more of the 24 life ingredients, then you're going to be able to have a lot more power over your own life to create the kind of life that you want to have. All the best.